So look, President Trump is not only racist, but he's also ignorant. This should not be a surprise to most people. I'm not surprised. You shouldn't be surprised. I mean, considering he is, of course, Fox News president and has a long, long history of racism, all the way going back to what he learned from his father. So, like many of those who believe in right-wing propaganda, Trump is very, very ignorant, has some very ignorant ideas on the topic of welfare, which is actually pretty consequential, considering that the Republicans' next move is going to likely be what they call welfare reform. Wonderful. Now, how this relates is that, according to an NBC News report, the president was shocked and chagrined, I tell you, to find out that most people on welfare aren't black. No. According to NBC, they said while meeting with the members of the Congressional Black Caucus in March of last year, one of the members mentioned to Trump that doing welfare reform would actually be detrimental to her constituents, while then adding, quote, not all of whom are black. The president responded incredulously, quote, really? Then what are they? Well, I mean, if they're not black, what are they? I mean, what do you mean that black people aren't on welfare? That's what welfare is. It's all lazy black people. Look, statistically, you would be absolutely wrong. You could actually say and make the argument that it's for lazy white people. Except that, of course, in reality, in a reality-based world, the majority of people on welfare are neither lazy nor black. They're actually white people. White people are actually the biggest beneficiaries when it comes to what we would call welfare programs. Now, according to the Center on Budget Policy and Priorities, white people without a college degree, ages 18 to 64, are actually the largest class of adults that are lifted out of poverty by these programs. In a 2017 report, 6.2 million working-age whites were lifted above the poverty line thanks to these programs. Now, when you compare it with other racial groups, in 2014, 2.8 million blacks and 2.4 million Hispanics were also lifted out of poverty thanks to these programs. Now, when it comes to Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, or the food stamp program, the numbers look pretty similar. Just over 40% of SNAP recipients happen to be white. Another 25% are black, 10.3% are Hispanic, 2.1% are Asian, and 1.2% are Native American. And this is according to a Department of Agriculture report put out in 2015. Now, look, the idea, in fact, that so many white people are on welfare just comes down to simple math, right? White people are a majority. So, yes, if you have a majority of the population and you have welfare programs for people who are impoverished, and we have such high levels of income inequality, well, then, yes, it's going to make sense that a majority of the people on those welfare programs and suffering are white people because, again, we are a majority of the country. Now, that said, the numbers of African Americans on welfare programs are still fairly high. Now, that's not because of some inherent deficiency, right? As white supremacists will claim, oh, they're just naturally lazy. No. The thing is that we have things like institutional racism and lack of equal opportunity in both the workplace and in our education system, meaning that black people end up starting behind white people. So when it comes to wealth and wealth disparity and equal access, right, to all of this opportunity, black people end up starting the race far behind white peers. So that's the problem, okay? And those are the things that we actually need to work on to fix the problem. If we guarantee equal opportunity to everybody to get ahead, then I think the supposed welfare problem would end up fixing itself. If everybody has the same kind of opportunity in order to get ahead and to make good wages and to lift themselves out of poverty, then of course we wouldn't need so much money put into these anti-poverty programs. But see, that's not what the Republicans are doing. That's not what Trump's doing. They're not ensuring equal access to a good education that won't leave people in debt. No, instead they have Betsy DeVos, whose only goal is to privatize school and ensure that for-profit colleges, for example, have less regulations and make more money. They're not ensuring that people get health care. No, the Republican bill to repeal and replace Obamacare, for example, would have left even more people left out and would have significantly raised prices for health insurance, locking more people out of being able to get proper health care, right? They're not going after the disparities in policing that happen to target and imprison poor minorities for nonviolent offenses, which, by the way, when it comes to drugs, black people do, for example, smoke pot, just the same as white people. That percentage is the same. And yet black people get punished disproportionately more and for longer periods of time than their white counterparts. And Jeff Sessions, what is he doing? He's launching another war on drugs, and especially a war on marijuana. And he is giving more power to the police and actually is militarizing them even more. So we're doing the opposite of what we should do to solve the problem. As a whole, the Trump administration is not trying to dismantle institutional racism or change racial stereotypes. No, what they're doing is that they're perpetuating that with their backwards ideology. Because look, the Republican ideology is wrapped up in nothing more than white identity politics and has been that way since the civil rights era. I mean, we had 2 RNC chairs admitting to using the Southern strategy. Now, that Southern strategy is where they would reach out to white Southern racist Democrats, and they said, hey, man, look, come join our party. We don't like civil rights. No, we're opposed to civil rights. We love segregation. So, yes, please come join us and vote for our candidates that are going to appeal to you on white identity politics. And since then, they have played off that. They have played off what they call racial resentment, which, by the way, in this election, according to a study, was actually a huge predictor in support for President Donald Trump. So, of course, it's not a surprise at all that Republicans like Trump are not swayed by facts, and they go on believing that black people are all lazy welfare moochers. They were the Reagan welfare queens, while in reality, most welfare ironically goes to the GOP's own voters that happen to be impoverished by the GOP's own policies. And of course, unfortunately, those are the people who are mostly going to be hurt when the Republicans finally succeed on destroying the social safety net. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.